तर लाईव्ह आहोत.
हो, दिसलंय मला. आम्ही एडिट हे करतोय, पेजेस जॉईन करतोय. ओके. दिनेश, मेरा आवाज ठीक आ रहा है?
येस सर.
अच्छा, ओके. आपण सुरू करूया आणि नंतर मग हा पहिला पोर्शन कापून टाकायचा, बरं का, लक्षात ठेवायचं. हे संपलं. ठीक आहे.
ओके सर.
ओके. ओके. Jai Hind. This is Brigadier Hemant Mahajan, who welcomes you for another session on national security. Today, we have a very distinguished guest with us who is going to talk to us on many aspects of coastal security and the maritime domain. What I will do is, I'll first introduce the topic and then I will introduce the speaker to you. The topic in nutshell is, today we are going to talk about the coastal security, the threats that are there to our coastal security, the security forces that we have, like the Coast Guard, the Navy, the Coastal Police, and many other agencies, a number of successful operations that we have done in the past, the challenges that we face as far as controlling the fishery is concerned. We will have a look at what is happening in Pakistan. We'll also have a look at how the Coast Guard of Chinese functions. We'll talk of Maritime Security Agency of Pakistan, etc. So we have a large canvas to cover. And to talk to us on all these issues, we have an extremely qualified officer today with us. He is Additional Director General of the Indian Coast Guard, Vijay Safekar, PTM, TM, and many more qualifications. So welcome, ADG, welcome Vijay ji to this session on coastal security challenges, etc. I will very briefly tell you about various qualifications that he possesses. He has put in nearly 37 years of his service in the Indian Coast Guard, या जिसे हिंदी में हम भारतीय तटरक्षक दल भी बोलते हैं. He's commanded various kinds of ships that the Coast Guard possesses: fast patrol vessels, advanced patrol vessels, cushion patrol vessels which have a cushion, etc. So we talk about how was the command experiences like, and what was the kind of operational challenges that he faced when he was commanding these vessels. And more important also, he's been a pilot. He's a pilot in the Coast Guard. He's done a lot of flying hours on a very versatile platform called the Dornier. He's flown on both the eastern coastline as well as the western coastline. He's flown over the island territories of Andaman Nicobar Islands, island territories of Lakshadweep and Minicoy Islands. And he is has had a tremendous experience on doing the Coast Guard duties on various coastal states of our country. He's been posted on the staff in the Coast Guard. He has a tremendous experience in terms of dealing the challenges of maritime security or coastal security at the highest level. And he's done his staff college from Naval Staff College in Newport, that is United States of America. He's also done the Naval Higher Command course in 2008, and that was also the time when I was also there in the War College. And he's immensely qualified, MSc, MPhil in Defense Studies, etc. So he is a highly qualified Coast Guard officer, and we are extremely lucky to have him here today on our show. And I'm sure you are going to enjoy the talk with us. So I now welcome ADG Safekar. And the first question to you is, ADG, is that you have, tell us very briefly about various platforms that the Coast Guard has and the various platforms that you commanded. And we would want you to focus on one or two operational experiences that you had while commanding this platform, be it vessels or be it from the air. ADG Safekar, please.
Thank you, sir, for that introduction. I'm delighted to be here live in conversation with you on this subject of maritime and coastal security. I'm aware, sir, you're an Army veteran, but expert on maritime security. You authored a book on maritime security, and that is an exceptional thing. I really appreciate that. But coming to the first question you asked, I was fortunate to grow with the Coast Guard service. I joined in the early years and had a chance to do my basic training on the first of the Coast Guard OPV, Vikram, and later got a chance to command that vessel. Well, first I'll start because your question was about the kind of operational assets we have. So Coast Guard has the ships and aircraft and also hovercrafts. The ships are from the size ranging from 20 meters fast interceptor boats to about 50 meters fast patrol vessels and about 100 to 106 meters big advanced offshore vessels which carry helicopters. In addition, the fixed wing assets, which are there, as you mentioned, the Dorniers, there are 39 Dorniers, and which are very key to our surveillance because visibility is key to Coast Guard activities. And these Dorniers, they really show the presence out at sea in a very vast maritime space. Then there are helicopters, the Chetak helicopters, 19 of them, and ALH, now the latest one, the advanced Mark III helicopters, ALH, 16 of them. So that is kind of ships of various size and aircraft. But one more thing, there are 18 hovercrafts, which are very crucial for the shallow water operations because when we operate from seaward side, approaching the coast, you are restricted by your draft. So you can't reach close to the coast. And as you're aware that we have the shallow water, very sensitive areas adjoining Pakistan, so also Bangladesh, Sundarbans, and Park Bay. So these hovercrafts are crucial. They're very versatile platforms with respect to their reach in the remotest area. So that's about the platform.
Yeah, now please tell us, as far as the aviation assets are concerned, has the Coast Guard introduced any, let's say, drones, etc., which are very commonly being used in many domains? The drones and what other kind of a modernization or more modern vessels that are expected to come in the Coast Guard in the coming few years? Africa.
Yes, now Coast Guard works very closely with Indian Navy. And our normally effort is there should not be duplication. We should complement each other's assets. And Navy operates drones. So we have made a conscious decision that we take those inputs from the Navy as far as the surveillance parts are concerned, using what are available from naval drone surveillance. But Coast Guard, the Mark III helicopter really adds phenomenal capability for the Coast Guard because our bigger ships acts as a staging platform and therefore up to the outer limits of EEZ, these helicopters can reach the LH Mark III. Besides, the Dorniers can always do their job. As for a specialized platform, I would like to make mention of the pollution control vessels, which can act as a command platform in case of major oil spill. And what I'm saying is, we have been fortunate that we haven't had a major tanker spill in Indian waters, but world over it has happened and it has had disastrous consequences. The economic consequences are so huge. And in South Asia, there is a regional oil spill coordination plan between the South Asian states, and India plays a lead role in that. And we have fantastic capabilities of equipment and response capabilities. And these vessels, which are pollution response vessels, we've got 3 of them and 2 more are under acquisition. That case, it's very, very unique capability for India to operate in our maritime zones, also to assist our neighboring countries.
The challenges to the coastal security are well known. I'll just repeat for the sake of our, viewers. First is the poaching that takes place in some of the areas, especially in the island territories. Then you have a lot of smuggling that takes place. Then there's the illegal trade which takes place at some places. Then there is, either by illegal trade or via smuggling. The terrorists have come on 26/11 from the sea, and that 26/11 attack has been very well documented all over. Then even the Mumbai blast, which took place in 1993, the explosives were landed up on the Raigad coast of Maharashtra, and we all know it was accompanied by, let's say, the police and police personnel, and the customs people have actually accompanied the convoy from Raigad to Mumbai, that kind of a thing. But the threat for the thing was brought from the sea, etc. And similarly, we have I particularly think that there are 3 sensitive areas as far as our coastline is concerned. One is the area of Sarkri. I would want you to comment on that. Second is the area of Bangladesh, that is the Sundarban area, where a fair amount of illegal migration takes place. So let us focus now on the challenges which you face in the area of Sir Creek and around. Let's also include the Gujarat coastline on that. And how is the Coast Guard tackling it? Because some time back there was a case, there was a ship which was, I think, carrying let's say drugs with thousands of crores. It was intercepted based upon possibly an intelligence-based operation, and it was a successful operation. So please tell us about the challenges that you face in the Sir Creek area and how will you overcome it. And then we can go to the Sundarban areas, the challenges there, and various measures that we are taking to overcome the challenges in the Sundarban area. And then maybe we can go thereafter to Park Bay also. Villages after that.
Yeah. I think I would like to start with this understanding of coastal security. So normally, when people imagine the job of Coast Guard, they would normally think about Coast Guard job as to guard coast. And that is very literal and basic understanding. Whereas the duties and functions of Indian Coast Guard, for that matter, Coast Guards around the world, they are not onshore or along the coast, but they are offshore. The mandate for the Coast Guard is to guard our maritime frontiers, to protect our maritime interests, and to guard our maritime borders. But the issue comes where our maritime border lies. And from that perspective, one must understand how the maritime zone concept works. Our national jurisdiction, our national sovereignty, for that matter, extension of our sovereign territory into sea is up to 12 nautical miles or 20 kilometers, what we call as a territorial waters. And beyond that, there is economic jurisdiction up to 200 nautical miles from the coast, from mainland, and so also along the island territory. And this measures about 2 million square kilometers. And that is the area of responsibility of Indian Coast Guard as per Coast Guard Act 1978. And what the preamble says is, it shall be the duty of the Coast Guard to protect India's national interests in this maritime zones. Question is, how do we do that? So there is a twofold approach. One is to reassure the legitimate users of the sea, that is merchant mariners, fishermen, or other legitimate users, and at the same time, deter the forces which are inimical to our national interest. Now coming to that coastal security point, if we want to deter the forces inimical to our national interests, then we must meet these anti-national elements as far away as possible from our shores. And that is how we approach this issue of maritime and coastal security. And then you mentioned about 26/7. Obviously, it is a question which occurs to anybody's mind. But the fact is that what kind of force level which we had back in 2008 and compared to the vast ocean space, since then to now, things have substantially changed. The number of ships and assets which we have, aircraft which we have, the coastal radar network which we have been created, the SOBs have been created, we practice exercises periodically. There is a division of responsibility in the Marine Police, Coast Guard, Indian Navy, and multiple agencies. And we try to improve this working periodically by simulating the situations which have happened. We know next time it is not going to the same way, it is going to be some other way. And it is very relevant in that context, what you asked about the Sir Creek challenges or Sundarbans and Park Bay. Well, Sir Creek maritime border dispute starts from the land borders, which is around the creek. And when the creek opens into the sea, the orientation of the creek decides how the extension of the maritime border happens. So there has been a dispute and inadvertent crossing of the fishing boats on both the sides. So for many years, the Pakistanis caught our fishing boats and we caught their fishing boats. And there were other concerns which were concurrently addressing. But then at one point of time, it was decided in the interest of the fishermen, we got into an agreement with Pak MSA that because there is a notional maritime border and there is an area which is disputed on all the sides, we will not catch each other's fishing boats in that area, and which has actually helped our fishermen, also their fishermen. Not only that, there's a hotline between DG Pak MSA and DG Coast Guard, and staying of the boats on each other's side, it is actually shared in real time, and we Coast Guard does as far as going into Pakistani waters to shepherd back our boats, lest they're caught by the Pakistanis and suffer the imprisonment. But that's the thing. It has considerably reduced the inadvertent crossing across IMBL and apprehensions. But yes, this drug trafficking, other things are happening. And in as recent as last 5 to 10 years, we had some major drug smuggling happening from across the IMBL, and we have successfully intercepted those vessels. One of the cases I would like to mention here is there was a report about movement of the drugs across the border. Indian Navy Coast Guard, we were looking for the vessels. We couldn't find anything, but finally we zeroed down on one vessel, which was coming for shipbreaking yard alarm for breaking down. Vessel was checked by Navy, didn't find, we checked, we didn't find anything. But because there was anything, we further rummaged it thoroughly. And finally, we discovered drug consignment hidden in the pipes of the engine room, which means if we had not detected it, that vessel would have been broken down in Alang shipyard. Somebody would have quietly taken those pipes as a scrap, and that 4,000 crore worth of drug consignment would have been, right, which was intercepted. But I would like to say one more, because we're talking about Pak MSA. These are the security concerns, but one very strange thing happened in 2017. DG Coast Guard got a call from the DG Pak MSA saying one of their boat capsized near INBL and there 7 people are missing. Early morning, Coast Guard launched its helicopter, aircraft, ships, and carried out a search. And we succeeded in saving 2 of their service personnel from the sea and 4 dead bodies. And it was handed over to Pak Navy ship out at sea. So while we address the security concern, on humanitarian angle, when a request comes from adversary, that has been seen in the right perspective. About Sundarbans, you would like me to answer?
Yeah, please continue Sundarbans.
Well, Sundarbans has huge challenges. The inaccessible area, creek and riverine terrain. There is a BSF water wing which works, so also it works on the circuit area. And for years, this challenge was so severe because either from land side, not from seaside, certain areas could be accessed. But now Coast Guard hovercrafts are based in Haldia and they operate from the outpost inside Sundarbans and coordinate with BSF water wing. And fortunately, there have not been any serious issues of infiltration or smuggling on the Bangladesh maritime border side. In fact, there has been very good coordination with Bangladesh Coast Guard. A couple of years back during cyclone, we had our boats missing and probably swept away in Bangladesh waters. And they allowed us to carry out search in their waters and rescue our boats. So that kind of good coordination exists. As far as maritime borders are concerned, we have settled maritime border with Bangladesh, with Sri Lanka, with Malay, with Indonesia, Thailand, and except Pakistan, it's the unsettled maritime border. In Pak Bay, again, there is a very unique claim. We have historic waters and historic bay in Pak Bay. So the line equidistant beyond territorial waters is our maritime border in Pak Bay and Gulf of Mannar. There has been excellent coordination. In the recent past, we jointly conducted an operation with Sri Lanka and Maldives to intercept a truck boat. Why I'm saying so? Because we have nearly eliminated poaching from Indian waters. We nearly eliminated smuggling. Drug trafficking was the only thing, and those traffickers also moving away and away from Indian waters.
There are 2-3 sub-questions that I want to ask. Firstly, about the Sir Creek area. There are media reports at any point of time, there are at least about 200 to 300 fishermen of India in the custody of Pakistan. And then maybe a few slightly lesser number toward our side. So my question is, I mean, it is generally sort of accepted that Pakistan does all the wrong things and tries to ensure that they get converted to Pakistani cause. And in 26/11 attack, that boat in which Kasab came, that boat captain was the one who was in Pakistan for some time. And so therefore he had been converted to Pakistan because he met Kasab and party somewhere in Mixi and then got them to near Kulaba area, etc. So this problem of Indian fishermen in the custody of Pakistan, I would like to comment on that. And why can't we say capture equivalent of their fishermen so that we can say tit for tat, you got 200 of ours, you release them, then we will release 200 of ours. Because just today or yesterday, I was reading a newspaper in which it said Coast Guard caught hold of 2 or 3 Sri Lankan fisher boats coming into our waters. The fishermen were caught and then they were handed over, I think, to the Tamil Nadu police or some such report I read. So one is about this Indian fishermen in the custody of Pakistan. Have you carried out a study to say as to how much the subversion has been there? That is number one question. Secondly, related to the same place, you mentioned about the border security force. Well, I can talk a lot on BSF simply because being an army man, we do come in contact with them quite a lot. They're floating border outposts. I have physically visited those places. And if you purely go on the BSF website and ask them, well, you have floating BOPs, I would like to find out as to what has been your achievements in those areas. And the achievements, at least as mentioned on their the website, is to be very frank, 0. There is nothing that they have fought or nothing they have stopped. You can take a high moral ground and say, no, we are there, but nothing they have fought. So I would like to talk about the increasing the efficiency of the floating outpost, and is there something more that can be done? And then secondly, coming back to the area of Sir Creek, frankly speaking, I have personally been to the Sir Creek, my mistake. I've personally been to the Sundarban area, and I've traveled there, and it was a tremendous security challenge. That is the only word I can tell you, because with the help of a BSF person, I managed to get into their boats and get inside and all. So if you look at the regional newspapers, let's say from West Bengal and Orissa, you'll find it flooded with news to say that illegal Bangladeshi migration is taking place from that area. I'm talking of the migration from the sea. Land migration is well known, and it is well documented in places where we stay, Mumbai and Pune. There are lakhs of Bangladeshis who are here. But there is an illegal migration that takes place from the sea also, especially on the eastern coast. So I would like to give you the comment on the Sir Creek area challenges and this one that I spoke about on the Sundarban area. Yeah.
Okay, I'll first take up this fisherman challenge on the IMBL and Sir Creek areas. I'll make a limited comment. I should not enter into the BSF domain, but I know that BSF floating posts which are there, and I'm aware that they have made the apprehension. They have caught the Pakistani boats in the Sir Creek from the port. If they are not updated on the website, I'm not aware, but I'm aware about they have having caught them. But I'll get into the main point that this water body along our IMBL, that is the Gujarat coast to the Pakistani side to Karachi coast, it was a single water body for many, many years. For historically, it is only after partition we created a border, maritime border, and then after all there are no fences at sea. It is on the chart that we mark the border and says this is the Pakistan, this is India. For the traditional fishermen, the traditional fishing grounds are across the IMBL, and they tend to go that side. And at any given time, we try to stop inadvertent or even deliberate crossing. So that's we have to accept for those fishermen. It is an artificial border created for them, because that has been the area which they have been fishing for their generations of their. We have been, if anybody enters our water, Coast Guard will catch those fishing boats. If any enter Indian boats cross that side, Pak MSA will cross them, catch them. But in the interest of our fishermen, we have minimized those apprehension by Pakistani MSA. But still, if our people go, there is always a risk of them getting caught. And there is actually this part which you said, if they catch, we catch. The competitive apprehension of fishing boat has gone against the interest of our fishermen. So that is why we resolved to discuss and avoid those apprehensions. This has been actually from the ground experience, it has been realized. About Sundarbans, yes, I agree. Sundarbans, I agree that there's a huge challenge that side. But I can assure you, my entire service section, we never had intelligence about human trafficking from that side. We had from different places, from particularly not via sea route. And we have substantial presence in the, not inside the creek areas, but so if inside the creek areas is happening, I cannot say for sure, but open sea. We have a substantial presence. We have our aircraft operating from Bhubaneswar. We have got now ALH base there. We have ships and based at Haldia. We have, there is a outpost in the Sundarbans where our workcraft operate from there. So, and all the time there are 2 ships in that bay area always present there. So it is highly unlikely anybody will take that kind of risk for migration when there are easier ways out on the land borders. So I don't think that human trafficking is happening from that side, because there has not been any intelligence also so far. And we haven't had single arrests. We had so much of them on the Sri Lankan side or so much from the Pakistani side.
Okay, just for the sake of taking the thing further, just put a word on infiltration from the sea on the Orissa coastline, and we'll find some articles in various newspapers, especially based in Orissa and all, which talk about it, but that I will leave it at that. Yeah. I would want you to now talk on 2 more issues, which I think are also a very big challenge. One is a lot of illegal trade used to take place, especially from the Gujarat coastline with the Gulf area, etc. And in good old days, there used to be those wooden boats called dhows, if I have pronounced the name correctly. Dhow. Dhow, D-H-O-W. I believe that till some time back, it was regularly being carried out. Now, what is the state and what is happening is today, we know that Pakistan requires a lot of things from us, but they don't take it directly from us. The things go to Dubai and all the area of UAE, and from there it goes to Pakistan. Instead of a direct trade with us, it is done indirectly. So I would like to want you to comment on this illegal trade, especially on the Gujarat coastline, Ran of Kutch area, and the those going there. What is the challenges there now? That is number one question. And number two question is that there is a very big ship breaking industry at Alad, if I pronounce the name correctly, and there have been security concerns as far as the ship breaking industry is concerned. One, you yourself mentioned that a ship possibly which was coming from breaking, ship breaking at Alad, and they found some drugs. You found drugs in that, and you very correctly caught it. So security challenges of the ship breaking industry, because at one point of time, the ships just came for breaking and it was broken. But now I believe a coordinated team of the Navy, the Coast Guard and the police, etc. are supposed to inspect the ship, etc. So please tell us about the illegal trade plus the ship breaking challenges on our coastline.
Well, the dhows flying between the Gulf of Kutch to Gulf or Dubai is a legal trade. It is registered. They go around, and Coast Guard ships periodically board those dhows to check whether their documents are in order, whether the consignments they are carrying are the correct or not. So that trade is legal. We don't know what happens beyond that when they do the trade with the countries from there, how it goes to other countries. But that trade is absolutely legal. And about shipbreaking yard, the serious concern about ships coming for recycling at Alang shipbreaking yard was normally they end of life voyage. Those ships when traverse from different parts of the world, they are in a derelict, dangerous conditions, and they pose a serious threat because they also have hazardous chemicals, hazardous waste on board. So those concerns were there, and they come in those conditions with those ships. We had tow parting and those ships in sinking out at sea. So after raising this concern, DG Shipping made a compulsory requirement that whenever these ships enter Indian EEZ, Government of India, Coast Guard, MRCC has to be notified. So we are notified about entering those ships. So we monitor movement of this vessel. We check whether all the clearances are in order for those vessels. And one of the concern, rather than security, is about the environment. It is ship recycling is considered to be highly polluting industry, but there are no new regulations about ship recycling. India is signatory to that convention. So I think those would be addressed at the shipwrecking yard. But the concerns about their traversing time, the risk which was involved in this transit of these ships and what they carried at that time, they have been largely addressed.
Okay. We have a time constraint, so I'll ask you two questions before we end the program at 8 o'clock. One question is, and I think that's the most important challenge which maritime security agencies face, including Coast Guard, is I call it the fisheries control. And for the sake of viewers, I'll mention to you. I hope the figure, whatever I say, you can correct it if I'm not up to the mark. That there are 3.5 lakh fishing boats which are there, and these fishing boats do not have an electronic identification system, especially the AI, automatic identification system, and we are still in the trial mode of trying to identify them, etc. So at any point of time, such a huge number of shipping boats, fishing boats being outside, and if one or two of them are involved in an illegal activity, either of smuggling or of illegal trade or of carrying terrorists or whatever is not supposed to be done, that's a huge challenge because you can't identify them. So please tell us about one or two issues. One is, how are you managing this fisheries control center? How are you managing this fisheries control traffic? Because our fishing harbors are not up to the mark. They start from a harbor from one particular point, but don't land up at the same point. There is no proper identification done when they land up. Then you do have those 6 monthly exercises in which all the security agencies participate. And there have been newspaper reports which say that the 2-day exercise or 3-day exercise that you do, in which you are barely able to check about 5–10% of the fishing boats that are outside, simply because the number is very huge. So I think innovations and intelligence is possibly the answer. So please tell us about this fisheries control and the other points which we may not be able to cover in today's district. Maybe we can have a session maybe next week or something. So let's talk about the fisheries control. How are we managing it? And has it improved? Has it reduced the challenges that we face right now?
Thank you. Thank you for that question about fisheries, because the statutory functions of the Coast Guard mentioned to assist fisheries. So there's one of the functions. So we focus on assisting fishermen, rescuing them. That is one part. But yes, as I said, there are thousands of ships out at sea at any given time. All of them, because they have AIS, they are monitored. But this tens of thousands of fishing boats, out of lakhs of fishing boats, at least tens of thousands are out at sea at any given time. They are just dots on radar because there is no transponder, there is no way to identify. What you said is clearly that's a very, very serious challenge for us. Now, how to handle this? Because one of the things is ongoing project is to have all those vessels fitted with the transponders. Some of the DATs, as you are aware, they are fitted in several boats, but still that number is much smaller than the number of boats which are out at sea. Fine. So one of the things what we do is now increase the boarding operations several fold that we have already done. Basically, we have to reach to the probability of boarding so high that our adversaries believe that there is very high possibility of getting caught and they don't try to infiltrate. And not just that 6-monthly exercise, there is a periodically 3-month, one separate exercise independently done by Coast Guard. When on that day, all the operational ships of Coast Guard, other than which are in refit, they're sailed out and they go out and board every single boat they will come across. So morning to evening, that exercise goes on and very large, and that happens at a surprise. So that is a very, very effective when that will happen and when everything will be boarded. After all, our boarding operation is a hindrance for the economical activity, the fishing activity which goes on. And we do not hinder that too much, but at the same time, we cannot undermine the security requirements. So there's a balance has to be met. So this part, I think, has been quite effective. But ultimately, the solution is that having every boat fitted with a transponder and identified through electronic medium. So the surveillance goes on through electronic medium and through visual medium. We have to strengthen that electronic medium part because of just the number of boats which are out at sea. And hopefully it will happen with the fitment of transponder on each and every boat.
Okay, last question is, for the sake of viewers, I must tell them that we have what is called as a joint operational center, in which the feed from the radar, there are a lot of radars which are put on the coastline, which track the movement of shipping vessels, etc. That radar gets, the radar feed is put there. Thereafter, you have the NAIS, etc. The feed coming from aircraft, from vessels, etc. Everything goes into ultimately by the district headquarters of yours to also to the joint operational center, and of course then thereafter to Gurgaon, etc. Now we have been having this feed for a very long time, I think sufficiently long time. The specific question that I want to ask you is, the feed is there. I've visited all the JOC and I spoke to everybody who was manning the JOC. One question that I asked, but which there was not an adequate reply. I mean, I can't claim that I know hell of a lot and they didn't know anything, something like that. But have we been able to analyze the feed? Have we been able to analyze the kind of traffic that originates on our coastline? Have we been able to find out as to which ports create more traffic, where threats are likely to be, And what I'm trying to tell you is that the feed which comes to you is tremendous. I mean, when you go in the JOC, you go mad because you see so many things, you see so many dots. But the question is, out of the so many dots that you see, which dot is the problem creator? That is the whole issue. So I wonder if technology can help you to identify certain things, or is it only intelligence-based operation? Something can we do to analyze the feed that we already have with all these years? We have a vast experience now of the traffic next to our coastline. Have you been able to make some deductions and then thereafter take some action so that we are able to meet the security challenges better?
Absolutely. The data is so valuable, and there is a constant activity going on to analyze the data. And in some of the cases, we are able to trace back the history of those ships, when they last transited to this area and what activities they're involved in. So that part is operational research part is always going on. But the fact is that adding more and more electronic detection is not the physical intervention all that matters, because unless we are able to physically invert, arrest, and catch, the just monitoring, it has its own limitations. But yes, the tremendous data is generated from the sources. As you said, we have got radar network, we have got SAT AISB picture at all the time, and there are multiple functions of the Coast Guard. it has been so greatly used for our SAR requirement that when we had the ONGC helicopter crashing, we had through the AIS tracking on our MRCC, we could exactly pinpoint where the helicopter has gone down. Or when SAR, there's a distress happens about 500, 700 miles from our coastline, we're able to direct the nearest ship to the exact point where the distress has occurred. So there are great advantages which this data we can extract. But I would like to mention before we finish, because I think our viewers and audience should know that since inception, just to talk about anti-poaching, Coast Guard has got 1,500 boats, more than 1,500, almost 13,500 foreign crews, and not only of those foreign crews of neighboring countries, but of the faraway countries. All of them prosecuted, sentenced, sent to prison, and repatriated. Other than this poaching, only anti-smuggling and anti-piracy. 142 boats and almost 970 people caught, and the value of the contraband, 11,900 crores. That is kind of things which has caught. And SAR missions, more than 10,000 SAR missions and 13,000 lives saved. So that is kind of activity which goes on all the time. And from that, we extract the contribution for the maritime security requirement, because the assets are already there all the time. And it is about the coordination with multiple agencies to ensure that the security is also ensured concurrently while we do all these activities.
All that the time is running out, and all that remains for me now to do is thank you, ADG Zafekar, for giving us a very illuminating view on how the Coast Guard is trying to protect our maritime borders and various challenges that are there to our maritime and coastal security. Maybe we'll come up again. We could only cover 50% of what we wanted to cover. We have not covered poaching. We have not covered the island territories. We have not talked about the intelligence area. So maybe we'll talk about it, and maybe Sunday or some other time when you are free. The second part of this talk we will continue. But presently, thank you very much. And if you would like to make any concluding remarks, you can make that. And then I will thank you once again. ADG Zafekar.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me this opportunity. I'm sure that Coast Guard will measure up to the expectations of the people at large from what the statute tells Coast Guard to do. And I'm sure the Coast Guard will live up to the motto of the organization, which is Vayam Rakshama, we protect. So I'm sure Coast Guard will live up to this motto. Thank you very much.
I'm very sure it will happen, because we face huge challenges on the land borders, measuring nearly 16,500 kilometers, the coastal borders or the sea borders, 7,600 kilometers. So unless you don't protect our borders, the security challenges in the country are bound to increase. So all that remains for me now is to thank ADG Zafekar for giving us a very detailed and a very good analysis of how things are functioning in the country. It does give us a lot of confidence that our sea borders are being protected properly. There is always a scope for improvement. So as far as the viewers are concerned, if you like the video, please share it with as many people as possible and like it. And in a short while, this video will also be put on the YouTube. Maybe you would like to share it with your friends. Thank you very much. And thanks once again to ADG Zafekar.
Thank you very much.
And Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
बंद करना प्रमोद।